Hello there. If you've ever been at a point where you just couldn't get anything done, when you set your heart to do the things that matter to you, time will pass by and procrastination, sometimes even anxiety, and you just wouldn't manage. I was there until the start of this year, and I blamed the things that happened in my life because even now, as I think about it, to be gentle with myself, they were justifiable reasons to not be able to get things done. I suffered grief. If you've been here before, then you know that I lost my mom, and I mentioned that a resultant effect of that was demotivation. I couldn't be me. I just couldn't get things done. I couldn't leave my dreams. And I really love speaking live. I really love making videos because it's the only way I can speak live to people outside of the people in my life. And who knows who this can touch. Procrastination was the order of the day.
Can I share with you what helped me move from that to this? And I'm super positive that it'll help you too.
First of all, the biggest and the most underrated productivity hack in the whole of history is habit stacking. And it's a very simple metric. Think about attaching a task or stacking a task that you really need to do or that you really want to do onto something that you're bound to do, something that you're contracted to do, or something that by pledge you have to do. For example, going to work. For most people, you have to show up at work because if you don't, by the end of the month, you don't get paid. And you cannot cater to your family, you cannot do the things that you need to do, you cannot pay the bills. And so with my fitness goals, for example, I wasn't trying to lose weight. My fitness goal was to move as much as possible and become fitter by the end of the year. And I just would put every time I decided, oh, I'm going to go for a run, or I'm going to do this and do that, I will put it to the side. And so I decided I'll move to the locality where the office that I work for is. I have to go to work. I'm paid to show up at work. And so what that means is that there's going to be a space. There's going to be that time between when I'm leaving the house, when I'm stepping out the door, and when I'm arriving, which must happen every day. Now that I'm walking to work, and I've been doing this since the start of this year, by the time I was writing this note, it was around March or April. I'm filming right now in May. I've walked to work every single day and back home, except for a few instances where maybe I was running too late to make up with my feet or something. But I have found, and I didn't even know that there was a name for it until I read Atomic Habits by James Clear. I just found that every time I make it look like it's just one trip that I'm making. I'm doing a lot of things. I'm doing this and that and that and that, but it's just one trip. And that one trip, the center of it is my job or a meeting with people that are bigger than me and that I must be at, or just something that I'm bound to do. I do the other things. And as I'm speaking to you, I imagine that you're already thinking about how that could break very big tasks into smaller ones, daily ones. Like my fitness goal, for example, that I've just named. What that means is that although it's a major goal that I want to hit by the end of the year, I'm doing it every day so that at the end of the year, I've done it, but it was broken into bits without me even meaning to do that. And even more, because of the repetitiveness, you build it into a habit. So now it's no longer something that you need to do or that you want to do. It's something that happens to you naturally. I do not remember for the life of me that I can take a bus or I can book an Uber, except it's a day that I'm running extremely late and I cannot make up with my feet. I never ever think to now book a ride or to jump on the bus. I just step out my house and start going to work, and I'm walking 40 minutes to work. When I'm really, really fast, it's like 30 minutes. So about an hour or an hour, 20 minutes every day. And that is big for me. If you're still watching at this point and are not subscribed, If you're still watching at this point but are not subscribed, can I ask why? It's free, you know. It's free. It's free. Hit the like button as well. I'm sorry to interrupt your video. Bye. The second hack that I want to share with you guys is widely called the accountability hack. But I have a spin on it, and it's because I've realized that even if you find a friend to hold you accountable, someone who's interested in the same thing that you want to do so that they can check on you and you can check on them and it's a combined effort, I find that you still have the power to say to them, I'm sorry, I don't want to go to the gym today. I'm not feeling up to it. And if you do that once and you do that the second time and you do that the third time, the other person has to respect your decisions. They cannot force you to go and work out. And unfortunately, habit stacking may not work because some things you are not able to batch. For example, filming. When I film, it takes almost the whole day because I wouldn't consider myself an expert, but there are things like studying. Sometimes it can take even 30 minutes to even get into the mood of it, or to get into the spirit of it, or to cast away every distraction. And it's by the 40th minute that you're now into it. So you cannot possibly stack that onto going to work or being at work or coming back from work. You need time to do it. And so my little spin to the find an accountability partner thing is put an element of contract to it. You see, the reason habit stacking works is that there's an element of contract somewhere. When you have to do something, as in my case, I'm contracted to work. I'm not going to be able to pay my bills if I don't go to work. I better show up at work. And so the reason that works, I am compellable to show up. And so what I've done with my accountability is I've had to talk to a few people. I said to them, you want to learn how to use cameras and lightings. I know a thing or two about this. If you're happy with the quality that I produce, I can show you the things that I do. So in exchange, you don't have to pay me. You just have to show up on the dates, and you can see practically the way that I get the films come into videos that I can post out for people to watch. So now I'm bound. Somebody is going to wake up on the day that I decided to film, to dress up and come into where I am, and they must meet me already dressed or already set up or already about to set up. They must meet the thing that I've made them come all the way for. And so it's almost not possible for me to not film. And I'm going to be honest with you guys, every single Saturday when it's time to film, procrastination happens. And it's because I'm still dealing with the bits of demotivation that came from my grief. I'm still dealing with just wanting to lay in bed sometimes and just really reach out for my mom, who is no longer here in person. But her life goes on, and I don't want to get to the point where so much time has passed and I've not lived out my dreams. My mother wouldn't even want that for me. And so my willpower is not enough. Nobody's willpower is enough. Something that is enough, though, is structure. Or maybe not always enough, but it can at least work when your willpower fails. And those two things that I've just shared are action-based. But I want to share with you, because procrastination is actually more mental than action-based, I've come to realize that there's a mental work to it. The first hack that I use is a very interesting one. It's called the play approach. And I learned it from the book titled The Feel Good Productivity by Ali Abdaal. You know, that playfulness that you have when you're a child, that childlikeness that just causes you to want to play about everything, even the things that your parents are very, very serious about. You will make a joke out of it, or you won't be as serious as them. And so you are curious and you want to try and you want to have fun with it. We lose that as we start to grow into adults. So what I do at the brink of procrastination is I'll say to myself, I'm just going to have fun with it. What's the worst that can happen? I will stammer here and there when I'm filming the video and I can cut it out, or I will whatever, but I'm just going to have fun with the process. However it turns out, it's okay. And when we are stressed, we are less likely to be playful. When we're less playful, we're less productive. And when we're less productive, we're stressed about it again, and the cycle continues until you're just not doing anything. But the play approach restores us to the I don't care mindset. I'm just going to do it, but I will care to the degree that I can and just enjoy the process. The things that I can't control, I'm going to leave and let be. And that is the version of you that will get it done. That's a version of me that still wants to film, because it's like, even though I want to share serious stuff, not so much seriousness as to put yourself under the pressure to get it done at an expert level, when that's not even what connects to human beings. We're all just looking for relatability and someone who understands us and someone who has felt the pain that we have felt. That is also the version of you that is willing to try again, and that does not fear failing or falling, that is willing to reevaluate and come back and say, oh, I did it last time, but I didn't really do well. That one, but I can try again, and yeah, it will work. But just a reminder, the balance is that you're an adult, so no matter how much playful you are, when your dreams are at stake, things that you really care about, the seriousness is still there. The second mental element is to have a strong sense of why. And the two things that I'm sharing in each category, the practical things and the mental things, can work. Alternatively, altogether, sometimes I have to invoke every single thing that is within me to get something done. Other times, I just have to remind myself of one thing and I'm able to go. With the sense of why, one that works for me, that almost always works, is that I think to myself, being somebody who really loves to do research and read and try to find solutions to the things that are not going very well in her life, when I find all this knowledge, am I going to die with it? I could take them to the grave, and they're things that I could really be speaking to people about. I could really be sharing from my heart and from my notes and the things that I have learned that are really working. And so when my self-development, my self-growth, and just my self-improvement and my dreams are combated heavily by procrastination, what I call to the booth, if I try the play approach, and it's almost there but not really giving me the result, and then I say to myself, are you going to go to the grave with all of these things because you really can? Who knows how many investments have had to go under the ground because they just didn't pour out all that was deposited in them by the Creator before they left. That's going to be your history, except you get up and get these things done. I'm doing this for me. I'm doing this for my mother. I'm doing this for the people that are going to come out of my loins, my offspring, my children, when I have them, not now. I'm doing this so that I can say to them from my experience or from the way that I lived, here are some lessons that you can take. I have to leave it before I can tell it to someone. I'm doing this for that. And so when you find that very strong reason, when you find that very strong why, you can compel yourself to win against procrastination, because procrastination will always fight. And even now that I feel like I've sort of found, I don't know if to call it the antidote, it still fights. Every day when I need to do something, I still feel that urge. Not every single time, but many times I still feel the need to just put it to the side, because really it's easier to sleep and do Netflix and watch movies, or just let it be because I am demotivated as a result of the grief that I've suffered. But life carries on. Time is going, and I must also be going. And I want you to also be going. We must all move. As life moves, we move. We forge ahead. We move forward. We're not going down. We're not being stagnant. If you've never thought about your sense of why, that's okay. You can do it right now. You think about it. What's that one thing that triggers me into action? What's that one thing that can form a very good reason? And this may also expose to you that you could be, as with many human beings, as was the case with me a while ago, trying to chase something that is not really you. And that's also something that having a strong sense of why will expose. It'll tell you if you're chasing the wrong thing. It'll tell you if this is where your heart is. Because when it's something that your heart really is in and that you really want to do and that you need to do, as a matter of purpose, the why will come on to you. And as I wrap up, I've shared 2 action-based things that I use every single time to beat procrastination and just to get things done. I want to share with you, as a closing remark, 2 things that I also always keep in mind, just as an extra. None of this is possible without a sincere, deep understanding and having of gratitude. Gratitude is that mindset that turns, I don't remember who said this now, but it turns scarcity into abundance because you count the things that are working. I have a whole video on gratitude if you want to see, or if not, just think about it as counting your blessings, but I really, really think that it's going to work. Productivity is at an all-time low when, one, you feel like you don't have enough to work with, which is why gratitude is important. And the second thing that I want to say is, don't bother being productive or being the self-improvement you or the self-development you if you're trying to work out of something that you don't even love, or that you're not cut out for, and you're just doing because it's what everyone else is doing. We have all been there. I feel like society teaches us what to be in a way. Sometimes we find it on ground when we're born. The education system nudges us into that. And so you can catch yourself just doing something because it brings a sense of fulfillment, but as per the standard of society. No, Not as per your heart, not as per your mind, not as per your love, not as per your passion. And that is a crazy truth. It's hard, even when you're fully into it. How much more when it's not your thing? If you made it this far, I want to ask you to please subscribe. This is my heart, and I want this to grow. Please subscribe, hit the like button if you found any of the tips helpful, or if you just enjoyed watching me for any reason at all. Don't forget to make the channel, make YouTube or wherever you're watching from, make the platform know that you like this by hitting the like button, leaving a comment saying you liked it or you learned one thing or two, and sharing it, because then more people can see the content that you think is great. Thank you. Have a lovely rest of your week. Bye-bye.